Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. It's a pleasure to serve in your chairmanship. And can I begin by congratulating the Honourable Lady on the fine and eloquent and, I think, valuable speech. I think here we are again. Some honourable members will recall our PIP debates with the now former Secretary of State for DCMS when she was the Disability Minister. We discussed mobility needs of people in residential care. Eventually, she performed an U-turn. Eventually. Now, I like the Minister. I think he's a sincere and a conscientious Minister. I hope we can trust, I think, that he will take full account of this debate and make timely changes. Now, we're here mainly because of delays in dealing with cases for our constituents. And we know of the concerns of the National Audit Office and the Select Committee. Now, our particular concern, of course, is with Wales. And with Wales, where we have higher levels of disability and long-term illness, I've had cases, and I won't go into the cases, in fact. I think we've heard sufficient detail of how bad it is. I won't go into cases, but I have a number of questions. I have had a response from Capita, not always satisfactory, but they have responded. I do worry, however, about all our constituents who don't think of going to see their MP, and there must be many, many of those, proportionately more than actually come through our doors. As already been mentioned, there are delays and people have been told that they will be paid from the date of their claim. But of course the problem has already been identified, is that people have current needs, and jam tomorrow, even if it is delivered, is of no use. I would ask the Minister, in those sorts of circumstances where there are delays, are claimants given timely information as to how long their cases will be taking? At least if they knew how long they were going to take, that would be some comfort. And I think it's a grim sort of question, but I've been looking for figures as to how many claimants have died waiting, and specifically how many claimants in Wales have died waiting. And this is a more general point, Mr. Owen. It would be useful to have the data sets as soon as possible. I know we're at the beginning stage here, and I have had access to some of the management information. But too often I think we have data sets for the UK in general, and of course our concern is with Wales, and it would be very useful indeed to have those data sets broken down as far as our country is concerned. Another particular issue as far as Wales is concerned is rurality. And the importance of PIP for people's mobility needs. Now, there is a practical question here of the travel time that people take to go to centres if they're being assessed in centres, or the travel time, the extra travel time in rural areas in Wales that Capita staff have to take to travel to remote locations. ASOS, I know, have been putting a slightly different emphasis to Capita. They're doing more assessments in centres rather than home visits. So can I ask the Minister, will the department eventually be doing a compare and contrast exercise between the way ASOS has handled this and the way Capita have done so? Now, I did actually have a discussion with Dr Duckworth, who's the Managing Director PIP for Capita, on the radio this morning. It was very interesting indeed. And he did actually report, as we know, as we have already heard, that Capita now think that face-to-face interviews take 2 hours rather than 1. So I would like to ask the Minister, perhaps in writing, if he could let members of this debate know how the planning process went and how did it reach such an alarming underestimate. I know it's, any planning process has to be somewhat speculative, but it does seem to me to be gross if what was planned for was 1 hour and the outturn is 2 hours. I understand that Capita are recruiting more staff. We've already heard that. And I also heard the other day that there are staff from the DWP helping out, which is good, I think, when we're in this sort of a situation. It's all hands to the pumps. But I would ask the Minister again, are there additional costs? Who pays those additional costs? And of course, given that this is a contract with a private organisation, what penalties are actually being imposed on Capita? And has he made any assessments of their willingness or otherwise to continue with this work. We have seen, of course, what happened with ATOS, who have pulled out of another sort of assessment because of the difficulties that they have faced. Furthermore, Mr. Owen, I understand that Capita are now doing more paper-based assessments. We have already heard that initially they thought they'd do 70% face-to-face, and then we'd heard that it was 99%. But I understand now that in order to hurry matters along, there are some paper-based assessments being made. Well, Mr. Owen, this is where we came in when we were discussing PIP in the first place. One of the unsatisfactory aspects of DLA was, of course, that it was too often a paper-based exercise, which produced variable, to say the least, variable outcomes. So I do worry. You know, the PIP was sold on the basis that it would be a quality assessment and that it would be individual, face-to-face. There would be reviews, and you know, the system would be all around better, but we might be going back to where we started from. Now, I did refer earlier on in my speech to the need for data tests, and it would be useful if the Minister could give us a snapshot of claim numbers in Wales. Perhaps not now, he might not have those to hand. The number of claims outstanding. Usefully, the Department did produce some personal independence payments management information in February 2014, which some honourable members might have seen. And the results for the UK are interesting and rather startling, really. I don't know if these are now current, because it is February and we are now in April. But I see from the tables here that in December 2013, there were 229,700 new PIP claims. And in respect of new claim decisions made, of all new PIP claims, it was 43,800. That's, as far as I can see, a rate of about 20%. Yeah, I'm glad they go away.
Perhaps I could help the Houses. 233,000 is the figure that we estimate claims made, of which 50% have been now being concluded and decided upon. And of course, terminally ill, 99%, which is still not high enough when have been concluded.
Well, I thank the Minister for that intervention, and I'm very glad to hear that that is the rate. Of course, with people who are terminally ill, one would want to see a 100% rate anyway. I also had a look at the figures from the Personal Independence Payment Reassessment and Impacts report, which is based in December 2012, and it's a forecast for March 2014 of 87,000 reassessments and 180,000 reassessments in March 2012. It's 180,000. And again, perhaps not now, perhaps the Minister can give us some further information. I will hurry on to my final points, Mr Owen. And a particular issue in Wales is assessment through the medium of Welsh. I did put a question to the Department some time ago and was told that the assessments would follow the Welsh language scheme that the Department has. Very briefly.
Things sometimes where government and officialdom actually get it a bit wrong on the Welsh language. They assume that the only people who will actually need any sort of Welsh language provision are those who actually complete the forms in Wales, whereas, as many of us will know, there are people who are vastly more comfortable speaking in Welsh, but not necessarily so in writing.
Well, I think the Honourable Member makes a very telling point. Many people would much prefer to speak in Welsh, but write in English. Even in my own constituency, which has, I think, around 80% of my constituents speaking Welsh. I think we have to draw the Minister's attention to the fact that it's not just people who fill in the forms who in Welsh would want the service. And I just feel that government departments in general, and perhaps the DWP in this case in particular, assume a certain passivity in respect of the language issue. If people ask, if they bang the table a little, they will get it or they might get it. But I think, as with so many equality issues, government departments really do have to take a rather more proactive stance on this. And I would welcome, again, perhaps in writing, some response from the Minister on that matter. Does the department actually keep records of the number of claims made through the medium of Welsh. On paper, I should imagine that that number is vanishingly small. However, I don't think it would correspond to the number of people who would actually like to talk in Welsh. Even in my own constituency, I'm sure very few send the forms in Welsh, but the majority would want to speak. Just to finish, Mr Owen, in all of this, I think it is incumbent on us also to think of the Capita staff who are struggling to deal with all these matters. And of course, the department staff now, if they're out there working. And I know the PCS, as the union that represents some of these people, have concerns. And I would just draw that matter also to the Minister's attention. I think we must support the staff. It is a difficult job that they do under very trying circumstances. I suppose, as a final flourish, I would ask the Minister, I don't know if he'll give me an answer, but is he confident that the system is now fit for purpose? Thank you.